Hello and welcome to Ours Talkback Radio on this beautiful sunny day. It is 32 degrees in the city. The time on the clock tower behind me is 20 past 1. And if you're in Melbourne today, I'm sure you are enjoying the sunshine. Stay hydrated, stay cool, get down to one of the local pools. Coming to you live from Ours in Richmond. And as someone who has recently moved to Richmond, I got to say, Paran Pool, it's the spot. I've always been a Fitzroy Pool kid. That was the spot when I grew up. That was the scene. I hear that everyone over that side is going to Northcote Pool now. I've heard good things. I'm not interested. I found Paran Pool. The bleachers, incredible. I feel like I'm in Greece. Not the country. That's lame. The movie. I feel like I'm in the movie Greece. The shade is unbelievable. There is a little bit of grass. I'm not a huge fan of grass at the pool. I'm going to the pool for concrete. I'm going to be honest. I want chlorine and concrete. That's why I'm there. And the canteen at Paran Pool, oh, baby, it's off its head. Killer pythons, I'm sure they're longer than anywhere else. The icy pole selection, unbelievable. And coffee, good coffee. You want to go down there, ice cold can of Coke, ice latte, little killer python and icy pole in the shade on the bleachers. What else do you need? Paran Pool, that's where I'd be if I wasn't here, bringing you the first episode of Ours Talkback Radio, the show where we make it up as we go and talk to anybody who will listen and who would care to call in. Obviously, no one's going to call in today because this hasn't been planned at all. But this is something that I'd like to do and a format that I'd like to play around with. So why not just this is a bit of it. This is like an arts and crafts afternoon. Just make it up. It doesn't really need to be polished or go anywhere. But we're gonna have a little bit of fun, and I do actually have something that I would like to talk about. I, as some of you know, make a mirror called Broken Altar, and we're going to talk a little bit about the meaning behind that. There's 2 columns from that here, what that means to me, and also how it's been received in the broader public. We are going to talk about that because I'm very happy to say that my mirror, Broken Altar, is now live and available on Bazaar, bazaar.com.au. That's bazaa.com.au. And I mention that only to say that I had to look up the spelling, and I looked at the etymology of the word bazaar from the Persian bazaar with the single A, meaning market, and taken by the Italians. Obviously, what they did was added a gesture and an O to the end, Bazzaro. And my mirror, Broken Altar, is now available on bazaar.com.au, and it's very exciting. Very happy to have it on there. It's available in 2 sizes. There's the large size and there's a smaller size. And there's also one that I've installed at Cult Design in Melbourne. So they've got a new showroom down there in Abbotsford on Duke Street. Dion and Jess have done an incredible job with that showroom. Obviously, Cult as a whole, there's a huge team down there, and they've all done an amazing job. But particularly what Dion and Jess have been able to do in bringing that showroom together, it's a stunning space. You've got to go check it out. I've done another installation down there for their reception desk, which I might talk about later. Today we're talking about Broken Altar mirror. And I'm going to start by saying that it's been an interesting journey for me with this mirror. I think I had an idea to make it, and I did really want to make it. It was a bit of a journey pulling it together, finding out how to get the glass cut, getting the plaster plinths made and the molds made for that. And then there's the process of bringing something from the recesses of your mind and into existence. And that was really nice. It was I felt proud of myself and fulfilled when I was able to do that. And it was really nice to get it out there into the world, and then all the stuff that I don't really love, the marketing and trying to promote your stuff. go through all that, right? So I don't know if there's any makers listening to this, or people, designers, artists, whatever, but I'm sure you can resonate with this. I put it out there and I did hey, I'm going to do some paid ads. That's what you do, right? I'm going to put it on Facebook and do some paid ads. What even is that? Lol. Facebook suddenly thinks I have $780 for utter wank. I thought I unfollowed this account. So, these were some... Look, I did get some good feedback as well, which was really positive. But it sort of does take the wind out of your sails a little bit. So it has been really nice to have Bazaar contact me and say that they would like to put that on there, and also Cult to ask me to install one in their showroom. I think it's in making something and trying to put it out into the world and having a relationship with it, where it's not just something that you make, but it's something that you also, in some sense, you need it to be financially successful and viable for you. There's an interesting relationship that happens with that, where you do have to sort of get comfortable with loving the thing, but also expecting something back from it. And I think that we're getting into relationship stuff now. Maybe we should take some relationship calls, because can you really love something or someone if you simultaneously expect something from that person or that thing? I don't know. Maybe that's something for another call. But today, that's right. That's what we're focusing on, is Broken Altar, and the fact that it is now available on bazaar.com. It's also available through ours, and there is a piece down at Cult in Abbotsford, so go and check that out. We're going to take a quick little musical break, and I'm going to get organized for the next section of the show. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what Broken Altar means to me, the idea behind the piece, and why it's a special piece to me that I think deserves a place in your home. All right, let's get into... Look, it's just me here. This is the music. This is one day, this will be a really successful talkback radio show, and I'll have actual callers, and you'll remember this. Right now, we're going to take a quick musical break. Oh my God, are you fucking for real? What have I done there? Okay, I guess we're listening to this now. That's all right. Hey, you're going to remember this. You're going to remember this. What a jam, what a jam. Welcome back, Melbourne, and ours, Talkback Radio. The time on the clock tower behind me, as you can see, it's 1:30. I better finish this up and get down to Parampool before the UV rays start to sink and I can't get that base tan popping off anymore. So today we're talking about Broken Altar, which, as I said, I'm super happy to say is listed on Bazaar. And it's a nice moment for me as ours starts to take on a new life, and things are, I'm really happy about where things are right now, where I am in Richmond, and some of the things that I'm working on and some of the things I've been able to do, and to start feeling like I am having some success with the things that I'm making and putting out into the world. It's a nice feeling. So I'm just going to sit in that for a little bit, and I'm going to enjoy it. And I'm going to take this time to talk to you about Broken Altar and what it means to me as a piece. Yes, it is a mirror. And everyone has a mirror. We know what mirrors are. Fucking hell, this is the tone of the show. I want to make it as... I wanted to make it as more than a mirror. I know that a mirror can be something that we use to look at ourselves. And I don't mean just like look at ourselves, but to really look at ourselves. And I know that I've had experiences in my life often. Fuck, this is getting real right now. I have often been unable to look at myself in the mirror. And I can describe the feeling of what I'm looking at in my own reflection as one of mild disgust and resentment. And it's not a nice feeling. And I think those are the feelings that we generally push down. It's not like I'm looking at myself and being like, oh, yuck. But there's a feeling of uncomfortability there and not being able to look at myself. Now, who knows where that comes from? Is that a lot of guilt and shame about things that I've done in the past, things that I haven't done, who I think I am? Is it anxiety about where I am? Who knows what it is? Is it actual guilt and shame about who I am as a person? And the fact that I don't know. All I know is that when I look in the mirror, as well as my physical reflection and the things that I'm seeing on the surface, I'm seeing other things that only I know are there, and other feelings that maybe I don't want to always talk about. And I know that this is not an experience that is unique to me. And I know this because of the practice of looking at yourself in the mirror and repeating, I love you, I love you, I love you. This is something that we are not told to do, but it's suggested that it can help with self-love and it can help with your image of yourself. It's hard. It's really hard. I don't know if you've ever tried to do this. It sounds fake, it sounds forced, it sounds corny. I've spoken to people and I've also tried to do it. It's hard. It feels fucking weird. It feels weird and I think there's something interesting that's going on there. I have spoken to people who have also resonated with that feeling of it being weird and awkward, but have pushed through that and gotten to a place where they go, this really is meaningful. And it has been a really important part of the journey of self-love and self-acceptance and understanding oneself. So there is something interesting and almost ceremonial about a mirror, if we look at it like that, that we are taking time. If we don't just, I think what I have tended to do, and as I said, I don't think my experience is unique. I've tended to use the mirror purely for physical reflection. I'm brushing my teeth, I'm shaving, I'm doing my hair. Yep, good. And as soon as I start to really see my reflection, really see the person who I think I am, and the reflection of what I assume people see me as, those feelings are a little bit like, I'm going to get out of here. So I've done my hair, I've brushed my teeth, I've shaved. Sweet. I'm not going to get too deep on this. I'm gone. I'm now starting to wonder, possibly, whether some of the things that I expressed earlier were a little bit too much. Maybe I overshared a little too much. But as I said, I don't think my experience is unique. And so for me, Broken Altar is maybe an aspirational piece. Maybe it's designed as a piece that can be used for daily communion with our own reflection, and not just the physical nature of our reflection, but the deeper nature of our reflection. And having a space in the home, which is not like other mirrors, is a piece that stands as an altar, or as a space that we set aside for that communion, because there is a challenge in really getting to know yourself, and that challenge comes with reflecting on who you really think you are. The piece is inspired by Nike, and I mean that in the sense, you'll never believe it. You'll never believe it. We've got an actual real life caller. Ours Talkback Radio. We've actually got a real life caller. Ours Talkback Radio. Welcome. Who have we got on the line here?
Yeah, g'day, mate. This is Alan. First time listener, long time. First time, bit of both, actually. First time caller.
G'day, Alan.
Just calling in.
Just calling in. Where are you calling from?
Wonthaggi.
One.
Down in Wonthaggi, mate. It's beautiful down here today, you know.
What are you doing to get out of the heat in Wonthaggi?
Oh, mate, just fucking set up the esky, you know. I've had the kiddie pool set up as well. I don't have any kids, but I have about 9-10 kiddie pools out the front just in case, you know.
Yeah. Hey. That's a thing for sure. So, we're talking today about the reflection of ourselves that we see when we look in the mirror. So Alan in Wonthaggi with 10 kiddie pools and no kids. What do you see when you look in the mirror?
Look, mate, I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you, man, it's done nothing more but have a red hot crack, you know, tried his bloody best. He's been out here the whole time, just doing his best, mate, showing up for whoever,
Yep.
you know, and I'll look in the mirror and I see a bloke, this is a bloke, I say, this is a bloke, and he's been trying his damnedest, you know,
Yeah.
and he's got nothing to do.
I think a lot of our listeners will resonate with you there, Alan. I think it is tough out there. It is tough. It really is. And coming to terms.
Out there, mate. It's the government, you know. It's Coles.
It's
Woolworths, mate.
yeah.
I remember.
Yep.
Stock and cola, 9%ers. Absolute ripper drop, you know. Quality can. Used to be 4 for 10. Nowadays, you'd be lucky to get 1 for 10, you know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%, Alan. Look, I reckon, you know, is there anyone supervising you on that street with the kiddie pools? What's going on there?
Oh, mate, I'm a sovereign citizen, all right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm a sovereign citizen, you know. Sure, I might live in the land known as Australia, but I'm a sovereign citizen, mate. 100% unvaccinated. Kiddie pools as far you got to tell me that I can't have 5, 6 kiddie pools, a jumping castle in my front yard, you know? Yeah, it's a rental. Yeah, I've got real estate saying, mate, the jumping castle's not pegged down properly.
100%. Look, that's all the time we've got today, Alan. I really appreciate the call, mate, and we will get back to you right after this musical break.
Yeah, mate. Just
All right, cheers.
anyway.
Thank you, Alan. All right, let's take a quick little.
Try to make it real. Try to make it real, yeah. Compared to what? Said love is a lie.
All right, so we are definitely going to aim for Jesus. We're going to aim for more callers in the future. I think that's something that we want to do as a show. But as you can see, it is important to have someone filtering those calls. I think that would be the role of a producer. So I've heard. So if you are out there and you're a producer and you see some value in what we're doing here, please hit me up. Alan in Wonthaggi. Now there's a bloke that probably could have given some more time to look in at his own reflection. And not to make a joke of it, but if I could get back to it, it is something that is tough. And I know that we all struggle with it. I know that we all struggle with our own image, where that image comes from, how it's created over the course of our life, and what we do with the image that we have now when we look at ourselves in the mirror. Self-love, self-acceptance is something that we all struggle with. And Broken Altar for me is a piece that creates a moment out of that. Whether you want to call it a moment, whether you know, as an altar, whether you want to call it communion, there's something where you're taking that practice of looking in the mirror and honoring it in some way through what I think Broken Altar is. Now, Broken Altar as a mirror is two cracked plaster plinths and a broken piece of mirrored glass. For me, very inspired by Nike, and I mean that in terms of the brand and the God, who are intrinsically linked. But the statue of Nike, Winged Victory, who or which, that as an inanimate object. But I think there's something in the story of that statue which I think speaks volumes to what I'm trying to do here with Broken Altar. It is cracked, it is chipped, it doesn't even have a head, it's missing arms, it's missing a foot. One of the wings is very, very heavily restored, but it still stands where it is and is celebrated as like this piece of exquisite beauty. Now, what is that beauty? If the beauty is the physical form, most of that physical form is in ruins or missing or repaired, right? So there's something else that gives that piece or gives Nike her beauty or what she's celebrated for. And that's an essence that I think is beyond the physicality. And I think that there's something in that about what we see or what we perceive when we look in the mirror. Now, we can do the physical really quickly, and we can do our hair, we can brush our teeth, as I said. But when we start to really look, and that's why that practice of looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, is really hard, because we're talking to a story that we see in ourselves that goes beyond the physical. We're talking to our the guilt around things that we've done in the past that we wish we hadn't done, that maybe not everyone knows about. We're talking to unmet needs that we have right now and the things that we're missing in ourselves and in our lives. We're talking to hopes for the future. Who we are and what we see goes far beyond the physical. But so too does our spirit, and so too does our beauty, and so too what we really have to offer the world goes beyond just the physical. And I think making a moment of that and trying to celebrate that in a way is what I'm trying to do with Broken Altar. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that I get it and that I have all the answers for that. I struggle daily with who I am, as a person, where I am, what I've done, where I'm going, all of those things secret under the surface. And I don't have the practice down pat where I can look at myself in the mirror, but I am starting to understand more and more daily, not how to do the practice or how to look at myself in the mirror. I don't have any answers for what should be done, but I do understand that a moment should be made out of that for us to really understand ourselves, who we are in the world, and what makes us who we are. And only then having the ability to really interact or to see other people. And so I'm going to leave that explanation there, but it's more to me than just like, I do really like, aesthetically, and as something that I think is really cool and looks great in the home, I love it. I love it as a piece. I think it's a really cool piece. But for me, the story behind Broken Altar and why I think it's important to have a mirror that gives us as people a moment where we can reflect on what we're seeing when we look in the mirror and try over time, not instantly, not in one sitting, not just, now, but over time to start to understand that who we are, yes, is cracked and flawed and chipped, and maybe we're missing important pieces. Maybe our head has never been recovered. Maybe, our right wing is heavily restored. That may be true. Maybe we have secrets and demons that we wish weren't there and that nobody knows about. Maybe we have hopes and aspirations that we are never going to meet and potential that we're never going to live up to. All of that may be true, but that's part of who we are. And to be able to sit and look at who we are honestly and reflect on who we are honestly and not even find compassion for it, but just accept it. And then start to see that makes up the total beauty of who we are as people. And beauty in that sense, not being what is perfect, what is aesthetically pleasing, what has no imperfections or cracks or chips, but beauty in the sense of what the statue of Nike is. Something that is celebrated for exquisite beauty because there's an essence there. And the essence is made up of a real story of endurance against the odds, of trials, of tribulations, of standing here and still being here. And knowing that all of that is happening. And being able to look at yourself and know that all of that is true. And to persist anyway and to say, hey, that's true. And I have made missteps and I have made miscalculations, and I don't know if I'm exactly where I want to be or who I exactly want to be, but I'm going to accept that. I'm going to accept myself, and I'm going to try. And in that, I think, again, Nike representing victory in all forms, representing endurance over periods of time. That's what our human spirit is. It's an endurance to where we are today through whatever we've come through, and celebrating our victory in all its forms, and the enduring nature of our spirit to stand here, to accept ourselves as deeply flawed, cracked, chipped, broken, and in that is where our beauty lies. So again, thank you for tuning in to episode 1 of Ours Talkback Radio, live from Ours in Richmond. The time on the clock tower is 10 to 2. Thank you to Alan from Wonthaggi for calling in. I truly was not expecting that call to be what it was. And we will be back another day with episode 2 of Ours Talkback Radio. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you have any idea how to run a radio show, please hit me up.